In Luke 22:15-19 it says, "When the time came, Jesus took his place at the table, and the apostles with him. I have most earnestly wished, he said, to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I tell you that I will not eat it again until it has had its fulfillment in the kingdom of God." Then, on receiving a cup, after saying the thanksgiving, he said, "Take this and share it among you. For I tell you that I will not, after today, drink of the juice of the grape until the kingdom of God has come." Then Jesus took some bread, and after saying the thanksgiving, broke it and gave it to them with the words, "This is my body." Originally, I hadn't planned on writing about the Last Supper. It isn't that this part of the narrative is uninteresting or lacks meaning, but I just wasn't sure how it applied to the trans experience. I couldn't seem to find a corollary to my own journey. And then I received an email that changed my thinking. Now, this is a well-known passage in the Gospels. It carries some of what I would wager are the most oft-spoken words of the Christian tradition. We call them the words of institution, and they're recited every time we take communion. The words are so well known that they seem to lose their meaning. But let's imagine for a moment that we're sitting in that room. We are the disciples. We're having Passover with our teacher and our friend. Things have been heated lately, and we're not sure what's coming next. There's tension in the room. Judas is acting weird, and we're not sure what's going on. Peter is being his usual blustery self, proclaiming that he'll follow Jesus unto death. And Jesus keeps talking about how he's going to suffer and die, and it all seems like too much to handle. And then they all sit down to have dinner. It's like the ultimate television sitcom dinner. The dysfunctional family gathers for the Thanksgiving meal and secrets are revealed. There's fighting amongst the passing of the mashed potatoes. And then Jesus stands up. He takes this loaf of bread and he breaks it in half and claims that it's his body given for them. I'm sure some of them were thinking that maybe he'd lost it. I mean, bread is his body? And broken for them? What does that even mean? And even if they did believe that he was going to suffer and die, which it still seems like they weren't quite buying, how would it be for them? For the political movement, maybe. But for them? And really, how would his death help anything? If he died, then that's it. He'd be dead and they'd be left alone and nothing would change. So what's all of this talk about being broken for them? Then he raises a glass and says that the wine is his blood. It's poured out for them and is part of a new covenant. More weird talk. Now, a covenant they could understand. Covenants were part of their community life. Maybe even blood being poured out makes sense, but the blood of an animal, not a person. The text itself doesn't give us a lot to go on. The scene happens and then the story quickly moves on. For such a large rite of the church, it doesn't get a lot of airtime. We get more of the story later in Paul's letters, but by that time, this was already a rite of the church. So what was it about this small scene that so captivated the early church enough that they made it a part of their regular worship? And how in the world does this relate to the experience of transition? Like I said, I was resisting writing about this passage. Jesus is very clear in his language here. This was his body broken for other people. His blood poured out for other people. And so much of the way that I've told my own story has been the complete opposite. I needed to reiterate over and over again that I transitioned for myself. It wasn't because I couldn't deal with being seen as a visibly queer person. It wasn't because it's easier to be a man. It wasn't to get male privilege. It wasn't to fit in better or to buy into the binary. Like in some ways, transitioning was a selfish act. I needed to be seen as who I really am, and I needed to be in a body that was the right body. It wasn't for other people. In fact, the moment I realized that I truly needed to transition was when I realized that even if I lost my family, my partner, everything and everyone that I cared about, I would still need to transition. That was when I knew that transitioning was right for me. So how could I possibly say that this was my body broken for other people? That I shed my blood for other people? So we come back to that email. I have a little sister. When she was 11, my mom sent me an email saying that my little sister's class was writing an operetta on heroes and she chose me as her hero. Now, my mom hasn't told my sister about my transition, but my sister has seen me since I started transition. We talk on the phone, and in a lot of ways I know that she gets it without even being told. She might not have the language, but she has seen me undergo transition, and I am still her sibling, and she claims me as her hero. And I realize that in some ways I transitioned for her. As her older sibling, I want my sister to be happy in the world. I want her to be at peace in her own skin. I want her to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and love who she sees. I want her to walk through the world with her head held high. I want her to be her most authentic self at all times. And how can I possibly inspire her to be herself if I wasn't being myself? If every time I looked in the mirror, I hated the person I saw staring back at me. If I continued to walk with my shoulders rounded in order to hide my chest. If, once I started transitioning, I avoided coming home to see my family because I didn't want them to know about me. How could I possibly be an example to her if I hated myself and was ashamed of my life? This is my body, broken for you, so that you understand that sometimes you have to do hard things that no one else understands in order to be true to yourself. Sometimes people will hate your body or judge your body, whether because of how it looks, what color your skin is, or who you love with it. That doesn't matter. What really matters is that you can look in the mirror and love who you are. This is my body broken for you so that we can both learn to hold our heads up high. So we can learn to look in the mirror and love what we see. This is my blood shed for you so that you know that even if you have to bleed, you know you will be okay in the end. So that you know that we are family and that the same blood runs through both our veins, even if you are grafted into the family by adoption or marriage or love. We are family. This is my blood shed for you so that you understand that doing the things you know are right, even when people don't agree, isn't enough to make the people who matter stop loving you. Jesus knew that even after he died, he would be remembered and carried on in the lives of the people who loved him. He knew that living the life he was called to, even if it meant death, was a better example for the people he loved than playing it safe and living unscathed. And that is the legacy that I want my siblings to have. To know that a life lived truly, authentically, bodily is a life well lived. I want them to know that to follow your heart, to follow your gut, even if it leads you to scary places, is worth it. I want them to know that no matter who they are, they will be held in my embrace and loved. And so I broke my body for them so that I could show them that even with scars, you can be okay. To be holy yourself, living holy in your body, is a holy endeavor. So this is my body. This is my blood for you.